Hello everybody! If you want to read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. Short story 590, The Crimson Scourge, Intermediate. The village of Oakhaven lived in constant fear. For a year, a terrifying crimson dragon had cast a long shadow over their quiet valley. Its scales shimmered like 1,000 polished rubies, and its fiery breath left behind scorched earth and blackened trees that stood as grim monuments to its power. The dragon's roar was a deep guttural sound that shook the very foundations of their timber homes, and the villagers often huddled indoors, their prayers a quiet hum against the wind, hoping the beast would not pass over their fields that day. The fear was a heavy blanket, smothering their laughter and their hope. Elara, a young woman known not for her physical strength, but for her unyielding courage, refused to accept this life of terror. While the others spoke in hushed tones of powerful knights and ancient magic, Elara spent her days observing the dragon's behaviour from a hidden spot among the dense forest canopy. She noticed something strange, a pattern that others had missed. The Crimson Scourge never attacked the village directly. Instead, every morning, it flew to the same distant cave and released its fiery breath onto a large grey rock near the entrance. It was a bizarre, almost ritualistic action, repeated with the same intensity day after day. It seemed less like an act of random violence and more like a deliberate, purposeful task. One evening, with a rare, quiet confidence, Elara decided to take a huge risk. Armed with nothing but her wits and a small sack of food, she crept towards the dragon's lair. Her heart was a frantic drum against her ribs, beating in time with the distant low growl of the dragon. Every snapped twig and rustling leaf felt like a shout in the stillness of the night. When she finally reached a safe vantage point, overlooking the cave's entrance, she saw the truth. The dragon was not breathing fire at a rock, but at something much more delicate. Nestled in the warm stone was a cluster of enormous, deep purple eggs, and the dragon was carefully, gently heating them with its breath. The rock was a protective shell, a natural shield for its precious clutch. The scourge was a mother, and its terrifying roar was a worried call, not a threat. The loud noises and the small flickering village fires had caused her great stress and panic, making her lash out defensively. With a profound sense of peace, Elara carefully placed her sack of food, a humble offering of dried meat and berries, on a ledge and retreated silently. She had brought a gift, a sign of peace and understanding. The dragon looked up, its huge golden eyes meeting Elara's, for a fleeting moment before she disappeared into the trees. The next day, Elara returned to Oakhaven and told the villagers everything she had seen. She spoke with such genuine conviction and clarity that they listened, their fear slowly replaced by wonder. They agreed to dim their fires at night and to work more quietly during the day. The dragon, in return, stopped its attacks and its roars softened to low, content rumbles. Oakhaven was no longer a village of fear, but a place of quiet understanding. The Crimson Scourge was no longer a monster, but a protective mother, living peacefully in the valley, a silent guardian of the newly found peace. Vocabulary notes. Terrifying. Definition. Something that causes extreme fear. Example, a terrifying crimson dragon had cast a long shadow over their quiet valley. Similar words, frightening, horrifying, petrifying, alarming. Guttural definition: a sound that is deep, low, and comes from the throat. It is often a harsh or unpleasant sound. Example: the dragon's roar was a deep, guttural sound that shook the very foundations of their timber homes. Similar words: throaty, deep, raspy, gravelly. Huddled definition: to crowd together or curl up in a small space, often because of fear, cold, or being together. Example: the villagers often huddled indoors, their prayers a quiet hum against the wind. Similar words: gathered, clustered, grouped, huddled together. Unyielding definition: not willing to change or give in to pressure, firm and resolute. Example: Elara, a young woman known not for her physical strength but for her unyielding courage, refused to accept this life of terror. Similar words: resolute, determined, firm, stubborn. Profound definition: a feeling or quality that is very great, intense, or deeply felt. Example: with a profound sense of peace, Elara carefully placed her sack of food. Similar words: intense, deep, immense, heartfelt. Story written by Gemini Pro AI. Image created by Imagio AI. To read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. CC Music, drifting at 432 Hz, Unicorn Heads.
Imagine this. A quiet village, Oakhaven. But there's this chilling feeling hanging in the air. Its name? The Crimson Scourge. A terrifying dragon, scales like polished rubies shimmering.
Wow.
Casting this long shadow, breathing fire, scorched earth, blackened trees left behind. That's the feeling we're diving into today.
The visceral fear, yeah.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, our mission is to really dig into a fascinating short story you shared with us, listener. It's all about assumptions, observation, and maybe transformation.
Exactly. Seeing what truths are kind of hidden beneath the surface of what seems like a simple story.
So, Oakhaven. The story starts with them living in, well, constant fear. This dragon's shadow is just oppressive.
Their whole existence shaped by it.
Yeah, totally dictated by this dragon. We hear about its roar, this deep, guttural sound, shaking the foundations of their homes, villagers just huddled indoors, prayers like a quiet hum.
It's described as a heavy blanket, right? Smothering everything.
Their laughter, their hope, all gone.
And it's striking, isn't it? How a perceived threat, maybe one you don't fully understand, can just completely reshape a community's reality.
Right.
Every little sound, every shadow, it suddenly becomes part of that terror.
It builds this whole narrative of dread. You mentioned guttural, that deep, harsh sound from the throat, like a real growl.
Yeah, unsettling. And huddled people crowding together, curling up, pure fear reaction.
The story paints it so vividly. But, okay, within this village, sort of paralyzed by fear, there's young woman, Elara.
Ah, yes, Elara.
And she takes a different path. She's known not for strengths, but for unyielding courage.
Unyielding, that's a key word there.
She just refused to accept this life of terror, totally set herself apart from everyone else whispering about knights or magic.
Right, they were looking outwards for a fix.
So in a place where fear is just the default, what do you think made her approach so different?
Well, I think it's her choice of agency, really. Everyone else is waiting, hoping for rescue, right? But Elara, she chooses something else. Something internal. Observation, discipline.
So her courage wasn't about fighting the dragon?
Not physically, no. It was the courage to question. To actually look beyond the terrifying story everyone just accepted.
Unyielding, like refusing to give in to that group fear.
Exactly that. Resisting the pressure of what everyone else believed, this sort of conventional wisdom, that takes real strength.
And what she finds It's pivotal. She spends her days watching the dragon secretly from the forest canopy,
Okay.
and she spots something crucial, a pattern. The Crimson Scourge, it turns out, never attacked the village directly.
Interesting. So not random destruction then?
No. Instead, every morning, like clockwork, it flew to this one distant cave, and it breathed fire onto a big gray rock near the entrance.
Onto a rock?
Yeah. The source calls it bizarre, almost ritualistic. It seemed less like violence, more like a deliberate task. Purposeful.
Huh. And that just raises a massive question, doesn't it, for all of us?
What's that?
What truths are we missing when we just accept the surface story, when we don't look deeper for those patterns?
Right, yeah.
Elara didn't let that fear-based idea of a random monster define things for her. Her unyielding spirit pushed her to find the facts.
A real lesson in challenging our first assumptions.
Definitely.
So this strange, repeating behavior, it spurs Elara into action, a really courageous, pretty risky journey.
You can imagine.
The story shows her heading towards the dragon's lair, armed with just her wits, apparently, and a small bag of food, her heart's pounding like a drum.
Oh, I bet. Every sound must have been terrifying.
And then, the big reveal. The profound revelation. She gets to a same spot overlooking the cave entrance, and she sees the truth.
Okay, here it is.
The dragon wasn't breathing fire at a rock. It was gently, carefully heating something else.
Eating?
A cluster of enormous, deep purple eggs. They were nestled right there in the warm stone.
Eggs. Wow.
Just flips everything right. That rock wasn't a rock. It was like a protective shell. And the fearsome scourge...
Was a mother. A protective mother.
Exactly.
That single observation just changes the entire context. Everything she did before.
Yeah.
That terrifying roar the villagers heard.
Right.
The story suggests it was more like a worried call, not a threat.
Makes sense now?
And all the noise from the village, the flickering fires at night, just normal life. For them, it caused the dragon great stress and panic.
So she lashed out defensively.
Precisely. Not out of malice, not because she was a monster, but pure primal protection for her eggs.
It's such a powerful example of how our view of danger can be totally based on misunderstanding motives, isn't it?
Absolutely. We project our own fears onto things we don't grasp, and we end up creating monsters where maybe, just maybe, there aren't any.
So Elara sees this, understands it, and feels this deep sense of peace. The story uses the word profound.
Profound. Not just calm, but like deep understanding.
Right. She carefully puts down her offering, some dried meat and berries on a ledge. Then she just backs away quietly.
A gesture of respect, almost.
Yeah. And there's this fleeting moment mentioned where the dragon's huge golden eyes meet hers, like a silent exchange.
Wow. That moment captures that profound shift, doesn't it? From fear to, well, empathy, really, stemming from that true understanding.
So the next day, Elara goes back to Oakhaven. She tells them what she saw.
How did they react? I mean, they were terrified.
The source says she spoke with genuine conviction and clarity. And remarkably, they listened.
They listened?
Yeah. That fear, that paralyzing fear, it slowly started to be replaced by wonder.
Wonder, that's a big shift.
Huge. And they actually agreed to change their behavior, dim their fires at night, work more quietly during the day.
They actually did it, based on her word.
Seems so. And the result, it was transformative. The dragon stopped its attacks, its roar softened, became low-content rumbles.
Incredible.
Oakhaven changed completely, from a village consumed by fear.
To a place of quiet understanding.
Exactly. The Crimson Scourge wasn't a monster anymore. She became this protective mother living peacefully nearby. A silent guardian, the story says, of their new peace.
Wow. Just wow.
So what does this incredible turnaround really mean for Oakhaven, obviously, but maybe for us too, looking at our own world?
Well, it speaks volumes about perspective, doesn't it?
This whole deep dive, it's shown this journey from absolute terror to quiet understanding. And all because one person was willing to just look closer.
To observe, yeah, and question the narrative.
And then, crucially, to empathize. That simple shift in perspective, driven by her courage to just look, it completely remade their reality.
A powerful reminder.
So for you, our listener, here's something to think about. A provocative thought maybe for your own reflection. Where in his life, or maybe in the wider world, in public conversations, might you be mistaking a Crimson Scourge for a protective mother? Simply because we haven't really tried to understand the motives behind something or see the whole picture.
Yeah, what could change?
what could actually change if we made an effort to look for the eggs, to look for the underlying reasons and situations that just feel purely threatening on the surface.